Arya triple J mustard I hear. One time the Bhagavan was dwelling on Masopulcher's mountain in Rajagriha together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly, beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composition of factors and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unprejudiced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composition, no factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on up to and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear, having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment, in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Ayada gati gati para samgati bodhisattva. Shariputra the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharipadiputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara, and those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised as spoken by the Bhagavan. I and all surrounding sentient beings go for refuge to the Buddha, go for refuge to the Dharma, go for refuge to the Sangha. We prostrate to the Great Mother Prajnaparamita, surrounded by all the children and by the assemblies, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions. By depending on my prostration to all of you, may these words of truth be actualized. In the past, the Deva King Indra dispelled the Maras by reflecting on the profound meaning of the wisdom gone beyond, and reciting the profound words in daily recitation. In that same way, I also reflect on the profound meaning of the Great Mother Prajnaparamita and recite the profound words in daily recitation. May all diseases, spirit possessions, bad conditions, all the negative directions, that which happened due to past karma and immediate conditions, may all this be dispelled, may it become non-existent, may it be pacified. Page number 98 or 99. 97 and 98, sorry, for the short mandala. From the clouds of compassion that form in the skies is your Dharmakaya wisdom. Please release a rain of vast and profound Dharma, precisely in accordance with the needs of those to be trained. Yidam Guru Ratna Mandala Ganeya Dayami Sangye Chodan Sogi Chonam La Janchu Bardu Dagni Kapsuchi Dagi Chonyenge Beso Namge Droa Benjir Sange Druparsho Sange Chodan Sogi Chonam La Janchu Bardu Dagni Kapsuchi Dagi Chonyenge Beso Namge Droa Benjir Sange Druparsho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. by the merits I crave through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings.
We'll take a few moments to settle our mind by focus on breath. Then we can generate a good intention, motivation for being here by thinking and feeling how wonderful and great it would be if I could help to reduce the suffering and cause of suffering and improve the happiness and cause of happiness of all sentient beings. And to be able to free all sentient beings from suffering, cause of suffering, and lead them to highest level of happiness or fully enlightened state. I must actualize my full potential, fully enlightened state as quick as possible. To actualize that full potential, I must contemplate, meditate, and practice. For that, I need to be reminded of those practices. By studying, learning, reflecting, contemplating continuously. For that very reason that I'm going to engage in listening, discussions, reflection, contemplations. May our time, actions of being here be most beneficial and helpful to oneself and all sentient beings. May it be cause and conditions to overcome our anger and all other delusions, and to actualize patience, love, compassion, and all other positive emotional realizations. Kanye tu je ni so ne to dam de long me je dam de chun ne tun je ne ko dam de la cha.
Does anybody need any copies of the text?
It's not the old days.
So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Again, we are still on chapter 6, patience. And again, just to remind some of things that we have discussed so far, that getting angry and acting the anger is not healthy on emotional level, on physical level. And another, also it is not healthy because when we get constantly when we get anger very frequently, constantly, then it kind of it distance ourselves from the very people whom we care and love. Not because they hate you or they didn't like you, but because when you are in this state of anger, the energy is not good for them. And they can't handle it. It's very difficult for them to handle. So therefore, the very persons which you want to build better relationship, you want to build closer relationship, it distance them. It makes them fearful, scared. Even your anger is not directed towards them, and they know that, but still because of that, it is scary. One time I was in Europe, staying with one of friend, and that day, her son and his girlfriend or wife, I guess girlfriend, they were having some fight over something. And the fight came to the mom, where I'm staying with some other members. And so they got in an argument and started to become very bad. The son was so angry, so angry. It was very scary for everyone. Everyone who were there. There were a lot of people. And in that state of anger and rages, I don't know what he threw, maybe rock or something, broke the glass of the house, and almost, it was in such a rage and so anger, so much there. It was so, we feel so sad for everyone, but it leaves so much fear, everyone, what he might do, what kind of, and it was so scary that he might harm his mother in a very physical way. There was that kind of sense, atmosphere, and so it was. So this is just, again, I think one instant that you notice in anger, and so it is absolutely not healthy at all. Absolutely, it just distance the very people you love, you care. It's not good for yourself. It's not good for people around you. And so therefore, trying to overcome, trying to reduce anger is so important for oneself, for your family, for everyone. So important to have some level of stability, peace, calmness. And once we have the patience, instead of anger, if we can develop this inner quality of patience, then that will give us more peace, more calmness, more stability in dealing with any kind of difficult situations in our life, people around us. So because of that, that is again here, Shantideva is going very detailed in that. And then also if we really observe, very often we get anger not because we have been physically harmed a lot of times. That doesn't happen very often. But a lot of time we get anger because either someone disrespects you, or you feel someone being disrespectful to you, or sometimes because either someone's being unkind, mean, harsh, or you feel that way. Sometimes they are not doing that, but you feel that way. Sometimes because either someone is criticizing you, putting you down, or saying unpleasant things, or you feel that way. Or someone is spreading bad rumors, or you feel that they are doing that. A lot of time we get upset and anger due to those situations, not because we are harmed physically, most of the cases. So here Shantideva is saying, as we mentioned last week, he says such disrespectful, harsh words, criticism, unpleasant speech and so forth doesn't really harm us physically. And so why do we get so angry about it? It doesn't really harm you physically. And it is our own creation, our own mind. So with that understanding, then we try to let go of the anger as soon as possible. And again, if we look at things, what is criticism? We discussed a lot about disrespect, what it means, according to different culture, according to different individual interpretations. It would be the same with the criticisms. What is criticism? There can be positive criticism and negative criticisms, constructive and destructive. Not all the criticisms are destructive, but a lot of the time we feel negative about it because someone just pointed your faults. If we see it as a way for us to improve and see our own fault, our own weakness, where we can improve to get it better, we can see it as something positive instead of negative. And if we see a lot of time, is the truth. At the very beginning, because of our ego, we get hurt. Because nobody wants to be pointed your faults. We all want to feel we are perfect and not mistake. We don't make mistake. And so when someone point your mistake, your fault, it is hard to digest. It's not easy to digest, and we do feel hurt about it, pain about it, and due to our egoistic mind, strong egoistic mind. But if you give enough, if you try to be more calm, and if you give enough time to reflect on that, a lot of time what they say, there is truth in that, to some extent. Maybe sometimes not 100% is true what they say, but 50, 60, 70% of what they say might be true. And sometimes it's very hard for us to acknowledge that and digest that. But if we see that, then it is helpful because it helps us to improve ourselves, to grow ourselves. Because a lot of times it is very hard to see our own fault. It's so easy to notice others' fault. It is so difficult to notice your own fault. And if we don't notice our own fault, our own weakness, how are we going to improve and get better? How are we going to change? A lot of the problem for us is because not being able to accept and acknowledge that. Once you accept and acknowledge that, then we started not just accept and acknowledge, then moving to the next stages to improve and change and transform that. So if we try to see that perspective, then definitely those criticisms can be constructive instead of destructive, can be helpful instead of harmful. It is the way you interpreted it. It is the way you respond to it. So we try to remind ourselves all the time, if someone point out faults, mistake in something, we try to be more calm and try to really, without under the influence of our egoistic mind, being more stable, more calm, and trying to reflect and contemplate. If we allow our egoistic to take over, then it is not going to accept that. Our egoistic mind will say, no, it's not my fault. It's not my mistake. Absolutely, there's no way. It's all your mistake. It is all your faults. But if we allow our egoistic mind to kind of settle it down, and when your egoistic mind is more settled, more peace, more calm, if you see it, then a lot of time, there is some truth in what they say. Maybe sometimes we don't have the bad intentions, but our actions is not skillful enough, so they interpret it differently. So therefore, we have to change our interactions, not necessarily our thoughts, our intention. Our intention is still good, motivation is still good, but sometimes the way we communicate, the way we do things is not skillful enough, so therefore there is misunderstanding, misinterpretations, miscommunications. So when they point out, we have to understand. Sometimes we feel, oh, I did with my good intention. That is great, but on top of good intention, we need to have the right wisdom, right skillful means. So to understand, maybe I could improve my skillfulness, interactions, and so forth. So the moment we understand it, then we don't get so angry. It's easy to let it go because we see something as helpful, beneficial. Okay? So then I think we go to the next, the verses that we read last week. So I think we finished verse number 53 on the patient, and it is on 54. So, yeah, chapter 6, patience, page number 62, and verses number 54. Because others will dislike me, but since it will not devour me. What is devour? Devour. Either in this or in other life, why do I not want this dislike? So in verse number 53, Shantideva said, like such as those criticism, harsh words, unpleasantness, those does not harm us physically, so why should we get angry at it? So here we might think, yes, it doesn't harm us physically. It doesn't harm us physically, But if someone talk bad about me, put me down, criticize me, then there are all of other people who are listening, and then they might start to dislike me. Do you get it? It might not harm me physically, but it is harming me because it's making a lot of people dislike me because of that person's harsh word, criticism, unkind, unpleasant, mean. So therefore, I have a right to be angry. There's no reason for me to be patient. I have a right to be angry. If you say that, sometimes we feel that. We don't mind say, we feel that. And in that cases, here Shantideva is saying, if someone dislikes us because of someone's actions, due to that actions, because maybe some other people maybe believe in what they say, and then they started to have doubt and started to dislike you, or doubt or believe in them and started to dislike you. So therefore, I have right to be angry and not to be patient about that person's actions. So here he's saying, even someone dislike you, it's not going to eat you up. And it's not going to harm you so badly in this life and in future life. So therefore, there is no reason to dislike the dislike of someone, or not wanting someone disliking you, and therefore getting anger on the basis of someone disliking you. So, I mean, if we really check it, it to some extent is true. Let's say we dislike Putin, okay, for his actions that's going around the world. Does it make any difference to him? No. It just makes us dislike, but it is not going to change, it is not going to harm him in this life and future life just because I dislike him. Do you get it what I mean? His actions will harm him in this life and other life, but not my dislike is going to harm him. Whether I like him or whether I dislike him, he's going to be same. He's not going to change because I dislike him. It's not going, and it's same with all of us. Whether I like or dislike some of the politicians in this country, okay. I think there are some of them who a lot of people dislike very much. And same in Nepal and many, all over the world. But whether we dislike them or we like them, it is not going to change much. It's not going to harm or benefit them much. Of course, their actions and our actions can change that. The way we respond maybe can change, have some effect, but not our state of mind. Disliking or liking is not going to. So therefore, we don't have to be so worried about someone disliking you. That's what he's saying. You don't have to be so angry for someone disliking you. No matter how good you try to be, there will be some people who always dislike you. As long as we are in samsara. Buddha has so many people who dislike him at his time, and there are a lot of people who still dislike him. There are people who dislike His Holiness Dalai Lama. There are people who dislike all the great human beings. So, what can we expect of ourselves? When there are so many people who dislike all those great beings, Of course, there would be people who dislike us. We are just ordinary beings. So, not to be so concerned, worried, attached, clinging to not for people disliking you. Because if we are attached to people liking you and not disliking you, then that is where the problem comes. Then we get upset and angry, and then all this negative emotion arises. So there he is saying, let go of being attached to let go of attachment, let go of being clinging to people to like you all the time, and having an aversion for someone disliking you, because our anger arises on the basis of that. So we learn how to be more balanced, more equanimity. Whether people like you or dislike you, you are able to remain calm and peace, accepting that reality. Then the verse number 55. Because it will hinder my worldly gain, even if I do not want this, I shall have to leave my worldly gains behind, and my wrongdoing alone will remain unmoved. So then we might say, well, if some people dislike you, then you will lose all the conditions for maybe your livelihood, your reputations. You will lose condition for your livelihood. You will not be able to gain wealth, positions, reputations, on and so forth. So therefore it will harm me. If people start to dislike me, it will harm my reputations. It will harm for me to make more, to gain more wealth, positions, materials, gains, so forth. So then again, if we think that, then here Shantideva is saying that even due to very attached to the reputation and material gains and so forth, due to the being attached to that, then there is a fear of losing or not getting that. The fear of losing the reputation, the fear of losing the positions, material gain and so forth, or not getting good reputation, not getting those material. On the basis of that, then of course we get, and when we do feel that way, then we get upset and angry and so forth. So he is saying that the very object of our attachment and fear, the reputations and the material gains, no matter how much you try to hold on them, it is only a matter of time that it will naturally, you will be separated from them. When the death comes, which we all have to face, we have to leave everything behind. All this material wealth, all the whatever reputation, fame that you might have, we all leave behind, and cannot be any health, benefit in the futures. But the negativities, the negative karma action that we have created due to getting anger and acting that anger in whatever way, this will follow and continue. And we will experience the result of that negative karma, that negative actions in the future. So therefore, if you are to kind of make he's saying that if you are a good business person, you have to compare which is more perfect. And he is saying there is more profit in letting go of anger and not to get anger than not getting the material wealth. And if you have to wait getting anger because you didn't get good reputations or material gain and acting that anger, and not getting anger and also not getting material good reputation or material wealth, if you compare that, he said this is better. It makes much more sense. It's much more worthy. So with that kind of calculations, thinking, then we understand it's better to, even we don't get the good reputations and good material wealth because of people disliking you, it's better than to get angry. It's better than getting angry, even if you get material wealth and so forth, for getting angry and acting those anger, because that will have a long-term consequences. Long-term consequences in many lifetimes. Then verse number 56. Thus, it is better that I die today than live a long but wicked life. For even if people like me should live a long time, there will always be the suffering of death. So because of that, he is saying it's better to die today without being so attached to good reputations and so attached to material gain. And because of that attachment, engaging in a wrong livelihood, bringing so much harm and destruction to others. It's better to die now than to live long where you bring so much destruction, so much harm to others and yourself because of being so attached to the material gains and good reputations. So because we are so attached to good reputation and material gain, then we are ready to do all this kind of unethical business, unethical things, works, where it brings so much distractions, harm to others and oneself. Wrong livelihood, unethical. Those livelihoods which bring a lot of distractions, harm to others' life. Yeah. And even you are able to, through your through our wrong livelihood, even we manage to collect and amass a lot of wealth and also good reputation and so forth. But we have to face that. We have to face that. It's a matter of time before we face this reality of death, the suffering of death, or reality of death. And when the death comes, again, everything we have to leave behind. Fame, good reputation, all the materials, everything behind. But we continue to take the imprint of negative actions that we have created. So it's similar to some of the things that we see, some young people where they try to make a quick, easy buck money by engaging some of very unhealthy. And they might make, some of them, not everyone is able to make money, even they try to do that. Some of them are able to succeed and to make a quick money and by engaging in inappropriate business or some other form of things. And they might, but a lot of time it harms them in long terms. Do you get it, what I mean? They might be able to make some money in 3, 4, 5 years, quick money, but that might haunt them throughout their 40 years, emotionally, as well as from maybe low. Maybe they might be caught up, might be put to prisons, even though they might not have been caught up when they were in that action, but eventually the law get to them, they get caught up, put in the prison, and their reputations get lost. People doesn't trust them anymore. They find very hard to get a job anymore because they have been to jail and so and people find very hard to trust them. And so it could harm them in the long term. But of course some people do take risks. So here he is saying, for us it is similar like that to some extent. We are taking risks for one lifetime, for many lifetimes. That is what he is saying here. It is similar to those people or kids who are willing to take the risk of all the remaining of your life harmful way, in a destructive way, just to get some happiness, some money, something for short term. It is not a wise way of thinking. It's not a wise way. It is not a healthy and wise way. So it's very similar if you compare that kind of example for this one. Because from Buddhist point of view, we are talking about many lifetimes. And compared to that, this life is so short, so short. And you are willing to destroy all the future lives just to have some kind of happiness in this life. And even we have all these good reputations and all wealth, it's not necessary that it will make you happy. It is not necessarily it will make you happy. It is very clear, very clear. We just have to see people around in the world and your own experiences. And even it make you happy, even if it give you all this wealth and reputation, give you a happy, still you are destroying all these future lives for just one lifetime happiness. You are destroying all the happiness of so many lifetimes for the one lifetime happiness. So here he is saying that's not a wise way of doing things.
Geshela?
Yes?
I don't know if you're leaving 56, and this may be asking an obvious question, but where he says, for even if people like me should live a long time, there will always be the suffering of death. What does that mean, people like me? Is Shantideva, thinking of people who have been through the monastery system, who have devoted, their lives to, right livelihood, right view?
No, I think it is saying people who, if you live your life in that through wrong livelihood and in a wicked life, so even you live a long life, then that is, so it is referred to that kind of persons. Living in a wrong livelihood, in a wicked way, in where you bring a lot of destruction, harm to others. So even you live a long life, even you have a long life, still it's going to be more harmful to you than helpful.
Well, then I guess I got that clear. It's good to get that clear.
Okay. Then the verse number 57. Suppose someone should awaken from a dream in which they experience 100 years of happiness, and suppose another should awaken from a dream in which they experience just one moment of happiness. So that's the example, then the meaning. For both of those people who have awoken, that happiness will never return. Similarly, whether my life has been long or short, at the time of death it will be finished like this. So he is saying, in the dream, he's giving an example. If someone dream in the dream that he lived 100 years and experienced happiness for 100 years, and then someone has another dream who has a dream of living one day and experiencing one day of happiness. When that person awake from that dream, or two persons awake from that dream, or one person from two different dreams, in that awakened state, there is no difference. Whether you had 100 years of living in the dream or one day of living in the dream, the actual real happiness that you enjoy, that happiness in dream, whether it's long or short, does not return, it's not reality, it doesn't come back. And when you wake up, it is just a dream. It doesn't, there's no difference whether you had 100 years living or 50 or one day or 1 week in dream. When you wake up, it is more or less same. Similarly, even supposedly, due to, let's say, due to more wealth, material gain and so forth, maybe we might think, oh, then I will have more longer life, longevity. I will have all this condition to live longevity, so I can live more, I can enjoy more. Do you get it? If I get more wealth, if I have more wealth, I will have better support, so therefore I will have more longevity and enjoy more happiness. So here Shantideva is making a point. Again, he had made many points in between before, that it's a matter of time that before the death will come. When the time of the death, at the time of the death, whether you have lived 100 years or just 10 years, at that time it is almost same. It's just like a waking state. Those no matter whether you experience all kind of experience, happiness, joy, all your experience of traveling around the world, all your experience of having tasted all kind of food, all the experience of done climbing the mountains, going to the beach, all kind of experience that you might have gained over 100 years, or someone who have not gained any of those experience because their life was short. At the time of death, all this experience is just a memory, nothing else. The happiness that you have experienced does not come back, does not return. It's no more. You don't experience that anymore there. It's just what you have is just a memory. Someone has memory of 100 years enjoying, and someone has memory of enjoying 10 years. But at that time, it doesn't matter. It's just a memory. Same, no difference at that moment. So therefore, he's saying, why do you get so attached and clinging to the wealth to get those memories, just to have that memories? So he's saying it doesn't make sense. And then on top of that, then because of that attachment anger, then we get angry, upset, and so forth. So he's saying it's not worthwhile. It's not worthwhile. If you look from that perspective, at that time,
there's a lot of discussion at this point in Western literature and Western philosophy too. It comes back to the same thing. A lot of the Puritans, a lot of that. There's a thing called Pascal's wager, and it all deals with this exact same point. This is not unique to Tibetan Buddhism. It's just generally considered a fact of religious life. And I don't know enough about Mohammedism to know, but I know that in all the Christian countries, this is they have quite the same view on it as the Buddhists do here.
And at the time of death, if we really look back, I believe even people who doesn't believe in future life, at the time of death, a lot of things will come in their mind, kind of rewinding their whole life. How you have spent your life, and if we have lived our life in a positive way, if we have lived our life more compassion, more caring, I think at the time of death, you will feel much more peace with yourself, with your life, satisfied with your life, peace with your life, less regret, less feeling of guilt, so forth, less fear. But if we have lived our life where we have lived our life very uncompassionate, unkind, mean, bringing a lot of harms, pain, suffering, distractions to others, anyone with consciousness at that time will feel a little bit of regret. Any person with consciousness will feel will not feel so great about it, will not feel so happy about it, will not feel so proud about it. And because of that feeling of uneasiness, some regret, maybe in some cases, maybe there is strong feeling of guilt, fear, and all kind of those negative feelings, then definitely it will disturb the person very much at that time. They will have a lot of struggles at that time. And then, of course, from Buddhist point of view, consequences of that in future life is another matter, another thing. So yeah, so we'll have a short break. Okay. So again, I think just to kind of remind, good reputations and the wealth itself is not a problem. Okay? Again, we want to make clear. Okay? The wealth and the good reputation itself is not a problem. But it is about being attached to it. When you are attached to, when there is too much attachment, when there is too much clinging, grasping to those, then it creates a lot of problems for oneself and others. Without bringing so much distraction, so much harm to others, it's not a problem. Itself is not a problem. Reputations, if it's come by itself, it's not a problem. The problem is when you are attached to those things and when you are clinging, then because of attachment, in order to get them, we are more likely to engage in unhealthy actions, unwholesome actions in order to get those things. And also when we are attached, then there is more fear of getting or losing them. And when there is more fear, of course, having fear itself is a big problem. And then on top of that fear, then it's easy to get upset and anger and frustrations when you are when you have fear of something, of losing something or not getting something. So therefore that becomes the problems. So again, I think that is but sometimes people just have it through a right livelihood, they still can be wealthy, or they can be wealthy because they inherit something, or sometimes being a good person yourself, you can have a good reputation, and this can be good to help and benefit others. It is not a problem itself. So that is where I want to make clarity, okay? That is because sometimes, again, you can hear something differently. Do you get what I mean? Some people get differently and they think Buddhism promote being poor. Do you get it? Buddhism doesn't promote poor or rich, or is how you make your livelihood. That is the one thing how it promotes. Like I think every spiritual path they promote ethical livelihood, and same in Buddhism, ethical livelihood, which means livelihood which does not bring harms and destruction to others' lives. So that is one thing. And another thing is not to get attached to it, because that will bring pain and problem to yourself and others. So that is the things, that is the two main thing in that. In verse number 59, although I may live happily for a long time through obtaining a great deal of material wealth, I shall go forth empty-handed and destitute, just like having been robbed by a thief. So again, by accumulating a lot of material wealth, possessions, and so forth, we might live long because we have better long life because of better conditions, better care, and better medical care, and so forth. And maybe we might have more samsaric, less enjoyable life. Even that is not so sure. Just because you have more wealth that you will be more happy, that is not always the case. We all know that. We can see the world around us, and we can also apply for your own life stories. Am I more happy than when I had less? We don't have to even see someone's life, we just have to see your own life. Are you more, if your wealth has increased by double than before, has your happiness multiplied double? If your wealth has multiplied 5 times, has your happiness multiplied 5 times? If that is not the case, it is very clear that material wealth is not providing us true happiness or happiness. So that is one thing, that is something kind of cautionable. If you have wealth, whether you can have a happy life. Supposedly it gives you some kind of happy, temporary happy we are talking about. You have, you can travel to different places. Maybe that might give you some temporary enjoyment, pleasantness. When it's too cold, you have something to keep it warm. When it's too hot, you have something to keep it cold. When it's too hot, you can go to beach. When it's too cold, when it's too hot, you go to some mountains, some things, all kind of things. It can give you a little bit more pleasant, supposedly. As I said, that is not always the case, but even if it does give you some kind of more pleasure in that sense, not a true happiness, not a true pleasure, but sense pleasure, samsaric pleasure, temporary pleasure, happiness, and so forth. So it is again, I think more or less they are coming similar. So even you may live happily for a long time through obtaining a great deal of material wealth. At the end, again, it's a matter of time before the death comes, and then you shall go forth empty-handed. That we cannot take one penny, no matter how much you own it. And even we have to go our naked. Even though maybe in coffin or whatever you might have robed, but when you do go in pardo, in intermediate stage, you are not taking that robe with you. So in a way, you came naked and you go naked. You can't take all the clothes, you can't take all the shelters, the house, you can't take any of the penny, you can't take your fame, reputation, whatever that is, we all have to leave it behind. So it is like, you collect all these things, and one day a thief comes and take away. It would be much more painful. Like you have been collecting all these things and suddenly someone comes to take. So it is similar like that to some extent. The thief or of the dead take away everything from you. All away. So and it is more painful, it was like, I guess maybe we also see here, also I think in this country, it happens every part of the country. I remember in India one time, there was some business people and a lot of Tibetan people who used to kind of, their saving, they used to deposit with those business people because they were paying a good interest. And then after some time, the business crashed. So with the crash of business, of course there is always controversy, whether they really crashed it or they were kind of did that, but whatever. And a lot of people, Tibetan people, just normal people, all their saving was gone. All the money that their children sent from the overseas, or what they have every year during the winter, they go and sell small things, sweater and some kind of clothes. And every year they work very hard and they save and come in. All this money was gone in like one step. And just like some of the here when stock market crashed, when some people lost everything, every saving they had. So, and I remember some of the people who lost that, they were saying some of people, they have been able to be more generous and help some others, organizations or monasteries or individuals. They were feeling great about it because they said, oh, I'm so happy that I was able to do that. Otherwise, I would have lost all this as well. So what I'm trying to say is, and I've also met so many people. I was in Canada and recently, one of the person whom I knew quite well, we haven't communicated for a year or something. And when I was in Canada, I was trying to, and then I didn't see her. And then suddenly I asked someone, a friend, and then she just retired 1 year back. And she was looking very forward to retirement because she has planned what she wanted to do about her life after retirement. And she has saved everything for the retirement and what she wanted to do. And she died 1 year after the retirement without having to do anything she wanted to. It's like you work, save all to do something, and then all is gone. And I've met some other people who have saved all the money to wait for the retirement so they can enjoy their life to some extent. And then they got sick, and then whole money was, because they need to be taken care by the government, and as a way of that, they took all the money by government in Europe, for example. So it's like that, you accumulate to do something, and then you never know. And suppose you are even able to do that. You have a good retirement, you are able to travel places you want to travel, you want to do things and that you want to do and all these things. But at the end, again, we have to leave everything behind. So that is what is. So the point is not to be too attached to it. That is the whole point. Not to get too attached to it, not to get too clinging, grasping to it. That is all this about it. Because it is harmful to one, harmful to others. On the basis of that clinging, there is more fear. On the basis of fear, there is more anger. On the basis of anger, then we act in an unhealthy way, where it brings more harm to oneself and others. So again, it comes back to that. So I think maybe I can leave for some time for the questions or sharing something. If anyone. Yes, please.
So you could say that the samsaric happiness is conditional.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything that comes to us in samsara is conditional.
Yeah. Sometimes it's external conditions, sometimes it's internal conditions.
Because if I think, well, if I go here, I'll be happy, or I go there, I'll be happy, or I, have something else to do, then there'll be happiness. That's all conditional.
Yeah, it is all conditional, and not only it is conditional, it doesn't last.
Right.
When I go to Europe, maybe first visit might be a little bit exciting. It's a new place. Second time, there is no excitement. It is just a job. It is just a work. There is no excitement for the second time, third time, because you have already seen the place. Once you have seen the place, and so it's unreliable, you know. One is very conditional, and secondly, it's so unreliable. Is once you have been there, then it's just, oh, I've been there, that's all. It's just in memory, as he said. It's just in your memory. There is nothing special, excitement. Maybe there might be a little bit of excitement at the very beginning, and that when you experience something new experience. Yeah.
So the nature of a bodhisattva is happiness. What is that?
The true happiness which come from your own inner qualities, love, compassion, and those, it doesn't depend on external conditions, so therefore it's more reliable, it's more stable. It does depend on internal conditions, but it doesn't depend on external conditions. So therefore such happiness, and they are more reliable, more stable, and more true.
So does that happiness look like regular happiness?
Oh, I think maybe you have to ask the bodhisattvas. Anyone here who want to share that experience? Whether you can share whether it was different from your normal.
Samsaric happiness.
I think samsaric pleasure, samsaric happiness is more sensory happiness, most of them sensory. Whereas that happiness is internal, mental happiness. And so it's one thing is very different. And it's like sometimes when you are totally kind of content, satisfied, and just for where you are, for what you are, for what you are being, there's such a peace and calmness in your heart, your mind. So that is not even a very tiny of what that really bodhisattva's happiness, but that is just give you some examples.
So then a bodhisattva would have that state whether they were like in a war zone or in a God realm. I mean, they just have that state anyway.
Oh yeah. That happiness, as long as they have that bodhicitta, love, compassion, patience, all these things, they will, no matter where they are, they will have that kind of happiness. And they will not be so much disturbed and affected emotionally by such external circumstances. They can still find stability, calmness, totally understanding the situations at the same time, having that calmness.
So that's why the human realm is good.
Yeah, they say human realm is better for the practice because there is both suffering and happiness.
Yeah.
In God realm, only happiness, so you get distracted. And you don't practice the Dharma because you don't see the need of practice Dharma because you think, oh, everything is perfect. Even though it might be perfect for temporarily. When you finish the karma, then again you are born in some other places. So there is less pain and there's happiness, but it's only for short term, for that lifetime. And because they don't see much pain, they don't see the need to practice. And so therefore it is not the best conducive place to practice the Dharma. So that is why they say the bodhisattvas, they pray all the time to be born in human beings instead of in God realms, because that is the best conditions to practice the Dharma, and also best condition to make a faster development in your spiritual path. John, you want to say something?
It's past now.
Mm.
This thing you said about Europe, I traveled a lot.
Uh-huh.
India, Kathmandu, Japan, China. people will say they go to the Europe and I say, why do you want to go over there? It's like going to your own backyard. But that wasn't my experience the first time I went at all.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So just to go back to what Susan started, that if, and I don't know what a bodhisattva's mind is like for sure, but a bodhisattva in a war zone seems like if we got too attached to being at peace, or even too attached to being generous, or too attached to being, then it's like then that's not really our bodhisattva perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. We need to have the right wisdom. Through the right understanding and wisdom, then we should be able to let go of attachment to anything. If we are attached to peace, then that is what happened. A lot of us, because we are attached to peace. So when there is war and pain and that, then of course the pain and suffering that we experience is not a result of our compassion. True compassion is more result of our attachment to the opposite of that reality, or the opposite situations. So therefore it is much more devastating and overwhelming. Whereas the way I feel is like the bodhisattvas, those who have true bodhisattvas, they have incredible level of confidence, courage, because they are voluntarily willing to take pain and suffering for all other sentient beings, not trying to escape from the problems. Do you get it? In our case, we are trying to escape from the problems. We don't want the problems. The bodhisattvas, they are not afraid of the problem of suffering and pain. Actually, they are ready to take, not only on top of their pain and suffering, they are ready to take pain and suffering from all other sentient beings. Because of that, the bodhisattva, based on such an incredible confidence and courage, from the depth there is incredible courage and confidence and peace and stability. So I use example. It's like the being in the very depth of the oceans. That is how they are. So when they see a lot of pain, sufferings, war zone, whatever, those pain, it's like a small waves on the surface. It can feel it, but it doesn't disturb the peace and calmness on the depth of the oceans. They can feel it. It doesn't mean they don't feel it. They feel the pain, suffering, but it doesn't disturb them. The stability, the peace, the calmness. And whereas for us, we don't have that depthness. So when these small waves comes, it overwhelms us. We can't. It disturbs all. There's no stability. There's no peace. No calmness. It disturbs. Okay.
This is a off subject, but I've been wondering about this. How does the individual arise? The individual that carries karma. Where does it? How does it first arise?
Well, I think this is tough questions, which I think a lot of people find difficult. It is not like there is one in Buddhism. It is not like there is one general at the very beginning. From there, then individuals started to come. Individuals started from the very beginning individually. But then you can't say where did it started. If you say it started from here, then again, where did that start? It has the cause and conditions. So therefore, in Buddhism, the concept is beginningless. So individuals, there's all individual and beginningless of individuals.
It's tied to the emptiness.
I don't know whether you would say it's tied to emptiness. I guess maybe it depends what you mean by it, but you can say is individual means is tied to individual mind, which means individual perceptions, feelings, emotions, all these things. It's within the mind. all these are included. So individual mind, it depends on individual mind, and then imprint of individual which is left on the individual mind. And so therefore, so that mind, consciousness has cause and conditions, so therefore it has to have similar cause and condition, though it has to be preceding mind and go back. And if you say this is the beginning, then again, where does that mind from the beginning come? What is the cause and condition of that? So therefore, again, if you use that kind of reasoning logic, it makes much more sense of beginningless. Even though sometimes for us, because we are so, our mind is so gross and tight, we always feel like there must be some beginning. If it's not beginning, we don't feel comfortable. But if you really use kind of reason and logic, like a mathematics, it makes much more sense, beginningless, because if there's beginning, there's a lot to be answered. Yeah.
So, does ultimately we lose our individuality? Ultimately,
when you become fully enlightenment, yeah, then all enlightened beings become oneness, inseparable. I think it is a very, the way I understand is there is an individual, at the same time there is oneness, the beauty. At the moment, us is totally different. One cannot be individual, at the same time one cannot be one. But when you become enlightenment, all those enlightened beings become oneness, at the same time there's individual. The way I feel it is like waters, different sorts of rivers coming to the oceans. Once it goes to the oceans, it is inseparable, all this water. At the same time, there is individual water sources coming from it. So there is individual, at the same time, it is inseparable oneness. So that is how my take on that. I can be totally wrong, and I'm basing that according to, because in a lot of those teachings, you always say all the Buddhas are inseparable one, and then different Buddhas are manifestation of all the qualities of Buddha's compassion, wisdom, and so forth. There is that oneness, inseparable. At the same time, you have their individual stories and individual functionings as well, and so therefore, so I try to think maybe it's like the oceans and the water. So there is oneness, at the same time there is individual as well. Is it yeah?
Well, it's if we think about Buddhism has other realms for sentient beings to be in. So it's not just this era or this location that is part of the mathematics. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Buddhism talk about many other, I don't know whether the right word is planet or universe. Different universe. What do you say, planet or universe? I think universe. There are many different universes. Universes, world systems. Yeah, many different world systems. So this is not only this is only one of our world is only one of those world systems that we human beings. There are so many other world systems where there are many other sentient beings as well. So. Yeah, I mean there is many there are many dumplings as well. So this is one of within the Eastern universe. There's Mount Meru, 4 continents, 4 subcontinents. There are many of that. So again, it could be So in our planet, we are in those dumplings. Yes.
So humans in this one assembly.
Yeah, in this world, yeah.
Yeah, they can. Is it possible for them to access and experience times other soundings?
Yes, if they have some, if their state of mind is highly developed with certain, let's say, clairvoyance and some other divine, then it is possible that someone can communicate with other beings outside of this planet. Yes, as far as I understand. Yeah.
So, in this life, there are five senses, whatever sense. And in another sphere, depending on our form, the organism.
Mm-hmm.
Even in here, a cat that has the same, kind of senses has a different mental element, intellectual element. So even there, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
it,
we wouldn't have like seeing, hearing, tasting maybe someplace else like this. We wouldn't have this kind of form.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if someone is born, of course, it's not easy to be born in formless God realms. If someone is born in formless God realms, there is no senses like that. There is no form, and that, and again, as you said, within this world, many different animals does not have all five senses. Some of them have few senses. So again, and within the human, I think some people are damaged with some of their senses, so they cannot function some of the senses. So again, not every human being is able to function their all five senses and use all their five senses. So yes.
This week I was just reflecting on some of the verses, and I believe this is accurate. When those verses speak about, not getting angry at someone who's threatening one's reputation or something like that, we keep our mind calm, right? But then, in terms of the bodhisattva vows, the minor vows, then it's our duty to actually stop their wrongdoing eventually once we have calm minds. Is that kind of...
Yeah, if there is possible that you can do it. Again, as we have been, as I've been reminding from the very beginning, not being angry and practicing patience doesn't mean we agree with their actions. Not at all. It is not getting upset and angry and disturbed, but at the same time you understand their actions is not good for them and for others. It's harmful for them and others. So therefore, if there is any way that you can stop them skillfully from doing that, of course you have to do that. At the same time, I think you don't want to get engaged where you don't have the skill and means to do that, and otherwise there could be more trouble, more problems for both. So if you feel that you have the skill, means, and if you feel that you can actually be some helpful for them to change their actions, then of course absolutely that is what one should do. But so that is when you have the ability, capacity to do that, and not doing is breaking one of the bodhisattvas vows. But if you don't have the right skillful capacity to do that, then you shouldn't be doing that. So that is one thing I think. Is similar like that. Another example, for example, His Holiness Dalai Lama has been asked by a few journalists, why don't he mediate in Middle East, for example. And he said only if they ask him to do that. Because if he, without the Middle East asking him to mediate, it is like he is interfering. And so that will have a negative consequences when they are not ready for that and when they are not asking for his help. And that is the problem that we see a lot of countries, including this country. Why it is in mess is that one reason is because they try to fix all things when they didn't ask for come to fix it. So they feel you are interfering them. They feel that you are not helping them. You are not helping them. You are interfering them. You are trying to get something. So therefore, instead of being helpful, then there is all this hatred and all this negative energy started, and it's so that is where. So I think that is where it is. We need that understanding, skillfulness. That is important. Not only just the motivations, intention to help, but on the basis of that, to be able to really help in action, we need the better understanding and the wisdom and skill and means and capacity. Yeah.
So right now I don't have the skill, and so I guess so. It's the distance. Just really, my focus is watching to make sure the anger doesn't rise.
Absolutely.
And then all I can do is pray for the people who are.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I think by doing that itself, you are already helping them, because when someone is responding to me with the anger and whatever that is, the moment I stop responding to anger myself, not only it is helping me, I'm helping because I'm not creating more conflict and more anger. Because if I started to respond to anger, then that person will get more anger, and he's going to respond in more different, more harder, more violence, or more that, and that only increases. So therefore, both our karma become more and more bad and bad. So just by me not responding, not only is helpful to me, I'm changing his karma as well, because I might not have changed his previous karma, but I'm creating a cause and condition for him not to create more negative karma, stronger negative karma, because I'm not creating more unhealthy environment. I'm trying to create more healthy. So therefore, by itself, we are all just starting to help. And on top of that, of course, if you have the skill and that, if you can help, then of course that is another thing. So definitely, it's so important to work ourselves, not get angry. And if we have already gotten some angry before, if there is a little bit of grudges, a little bit of resentment, trying to get them out of your mind, out of yourself, by looking from all different perspectives that Shantideva mentioned, trying to look from all these different angles and trying to see which one can be helpful to get rid of your resentment or grudges for whatever they did. So it's sooner we are able to, it's better, instead of just keeping there and not kind of distracting with some other things. It is still there, but it is not manifesting because you are distracted with some other thoughts and you are not going back to that situation or that feelings. So you forget about it, but it's still there. One day, small circumstances happen, boom, and you don't know where did it come from. You thought you have overcome it. You thought, oh, I thought I have taken care of this emotion 20 years back. I didn't have that for 20 years. Now how come suddenly this comes? Because we have not truly let it go. We have just kept it there and not touched it. And so because we have not touched it, because we have not gone on that, and because we have been, we forgot it because we were focused on others, but sometimes something triggers you, sudden situation, something, and then that just blow up, explode. So therefore, it's so important to work hard to get out that whatever, even small resentment, even smallest. Sometimes it's small, we might not notice so much, but still it's there. So it is important, even if it's small, we try to get those resentment, grudges, those bad feelings as soon as possible. Yeah. So I think we'll do the dedications.
Page number 100 for the Shortland Dialogue. May my venerable Lama's life be firm, his white divine actions spread in the 10 directions. May the torch of the teachings of Losang always remain, dispelling the darkness of all beings in the three realms. Yedam Guru Ranamandala Kamirajayami. Page 235, first two verses. Page 244 for the long life prayers. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. You who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as a bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who massively accomplish magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior, myself, and others, your disciples, please, please live long.
Maybe we can take a few moments, second, to dedicate all our merit for the Dharma to flourish and benefit countless sentient beings. For His Holiness the Lama, the Lama Soparamoshe, all the gurus, holy beings have a long, healthy life, all their wishes will be fulfilled. And all the people who are not feeling well, physically, emotionally, mentally, may they recover from those sickness, unwellness, as quick as possible. Have long and healthy life. May all sentient beings who are experiencing different obstacles in their life, whatever those obstacles are, may all these obstacles and cause of those obstacles be immediately pacified. And may they find a solution to their problems. Prosperity, success, happy, and all their wishes be fulfilled according to Dharma. All sentient beings who have passed away, wherever they are now, may they be free from all the fear, suffering, cosmic suffering. Have a perfect precision in the birth, meet the Dharma, actualize the Dharma, and achieve fully enlightened state. May each and every sentient beings be able to actualize the three principal aspects of the path: renunciations, bodhicitta, and wisdom. and may they increase more and more, never decreases. Due to system of merit or virtues which empty from its own side, may I which empty from its own side, achieve fully enlightened state which empty from its own side, for the benefit of all sentient beings which empty from its own side, and lead them to the fully enlightened state which empty from its own side. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
So just before everyone goes, I didn't make